Dhyanamoolam Gurormurti Pujamulam Gurorpadam Mantramulam Gurorvakyam Bhaktimulam Gurorkripa. Aho vakiyam stankalkutam jighansayapayayadapyasadhvi lebhe gatim dhatriuchitam tatonyam kam vadayalum sharanam brajema. Namah Kamalna Bhaya Namah Kamalma Namah Kamalpadaya Namaste Kamalekshana Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagvangha Devamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukchurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Dear devotees, we'll have a few minutes of chanting. Please join me in chanting Radhe Govinda. After that, I'll explain more about being exclusive to the path of devotion. Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe
Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe
Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
गोविंद राधे
राधे राधे Radhe Govind Govind Radhe
Radhe 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 Radhe Govind Govind Radhe
Oh Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe
Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe
Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe
Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe
Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki
Jai.
Radhe Radhe everyone. Today I'll be speaking about the path of bhakti. In the last couple days, those of you who have been here, you've learned about something called Ananyata. Those of you who are just joining us now, I'll give a little review, a brief review. Ananyata means being exclusive in devotion. That means being single-minded and focused only on one thing, not trying to do many things. And this exclusiveness is related to three things in particular. Exclusiveness to the Guru, exclusiveness to our Ishtadev, and exclusiveness to the path. We learned that exclusiveness to the Guru is desirable because different gurus teach how to follow the path in different ways. They also explain the divine philosophy in different ways, even though internally they're all one. There may appear to be contradictions to us. If we listen to one saint speak and then we go and listen to another one, our mind will start thinking which one is right. And we try to analyze, and then we become confused. Only a saint can resolve those apparent differences. We should, if we have found a divine saint whom we have accepted as our guru, and we wish to follow the path to God under that saint's guidance, then we should be exclusively surrendered to that saint. Only then we'll see real progress. Otherwise, the saint won't be able to bless us with that real benefit that we could otherwise receive. So number one, we must be ananya to our Guru. I told you about number two yesterday. It is advisable to be ananya to our Ishtadev. Ishtadev means our chosen form of God, whom we worship. If one is devoted to only one form of God, does that mean we are disrespecting other forms of God? No, that could only be true if God were many. God is not many. Even though there are many religions on earth, God is still one. In other countries, in other traditions, people may call the ultimate divine power as God, Allah, Bhagwan, Ishwar, Khuda. There are many names, but God is one. People may be living at different places on the globe and worshiping God in different ways, but God cannot be two. Even if there are souls residing at other places in this universe, It's the same God for them as we have over here. What to say of different countries and religions and traditions on this one tiny little earth planet? But that supreme God has unlimited forms, unlimited powers, and those powers are revealed and concealed according to the situation and according to what type of bliss God is giving. This is why God has so many divine forms, unlimited forms, but God is only one. Yesterday I explained a type of structure to help you understand using a spectrum. God can be formless. God can also be almighty. And God can also be loving. So on one hand, on one end of the spectrum, we have complete lovingness. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have complete almightiness. And in both cases, the other is not present, not revealed. Where ultimate lovingness is revealed, God's almightiness is concealed or subsided or merged into that lovingness. And where the lovingness is completely concealed, God's almightiness takes priority. God's almightiness is revealed in totality. And to the extent His lovingness starts to be revealed, to that same extent, the almightiness becomes hidden. Like when the moon is in the sky, but then the sun begins to rise. The moon may be full and bright, but as the sun comes up, the moon's light doesn't reduce, but it starts to merge into the light of the sun. This is what happens with God's almightiness. As his lovingness begins to shine, that almightiness becomes negligible, insignificant, even though it's still there. And it's for this reason that God behaves differently and represents himself in different forms. There was once a saint who had access to many divine abodes and all the material abodes. The saint was called Gop Kumar. Gop Kumar decided one day, there's no perfect happiness here on earth. Let me go check in Swarg, in the celestial abodes. And he went over there and he saw many different levels in Swarg. He went all the way to the topmost level, the abode of Brahma. And over there, the material pleasures were amazing. But he still didn't feel satisfied because these were only material pleasures he was enjoying through his senses. They didn't give him ultimate happiness. So he went further ahead. He crossed the boundary between the material world and the divine world. He entered God's divine area. And the first area that he came into is called Brahmadrav, the ocean of formless divine bliss, where jnanis and yogis merge into the formless aspect of God, formless God. Over there, he felt perfect peace, perfect divine peace. And he stayed there for some time. But even though the peace was infinite, he felt something was missing. So he went further ahead. And he entered Vaikuntha abode, the abode of Mahavishnu and other almighty forms of God. And over there, he got to meet God in person. He saw Mahavishnu, and the bliss he experienced was indescribable. Seeing God in a personal form with hands and arms and feet and a smiling face and all of his divine ornaments and clothing. The bliss he experienced was infinite times greater than the infinite bliss of Brahmanand, the bliss of formless God. But he still felt that, well, over here, Mahavishnu is very beautiful and I can look at him. But he's like my king, and I can only adore him from a distance. I can't even talk to him. So he felt that he should go further ahead. And he left Vaikuntha abode and entered into Saket abode of Bhagwan Ram. Over there, Ram was very friendly. Ram welcomed him, asked him to sit, talked to him. He felt something very special, that now the same God I was seeing in Vaikuntha, who was so beautiful, but I couldn't have a personal relationship with, now I have that personal relationship. And he spent a long time there in Saket abode. After some time, Bhagwan Ram said to him, I can tell there's something more you want, but I can't give you that. You should go further ahead to Dwarika abode. So he went to Dwarika abode of Shri Krishna, and there Krishna was waiting for him, and he embraced him. It was the same Ram, but over here Ram was so much more free, to the point that he even embraced him. He was so happy over there in Dwarika abode. But after some time, after a long time, Narad Ji came to him, one of our eternal divine saints. And Narad Ji said, I know there's something in your heart. You want something more. To get that, you'll have to go back down to the earth, to Braj. See, Gop Kumar, because of his divine status, he had access up until Dwarika abode. He couldn't go further ahead than that. So Naradji told him, go back down to Braj. Braj is the area where Radha Krishna resided during their descension on earth. He said, over there you'll find many Rasik saints living, who have attained the most intimate divine love of Radha Krishna. Go down there and surrender to such a Rasik saint, and then you will experience what you're really looking for. So Gop Kumar went back down to earth. With Krishna's grace, he was able to find such a Rasik saint. And that Rasik saint graced him, revealed to him what he was truly longing for. He got to be with Shri Krishna with zero formality, 100% freedom, and total closeness with no restrictions of any kind. This is the love Krishna gives in Golok and Vrindavan, which he also revealed when he was on the earth in Braj. This is a review for you of these divine abodes, which I explained to you yesterday. And what we have to keep in mind is that we need to create a target. We need to decide in our mind, what is our divine goal? And accordingly, we choose our Ishtadev. In what form do we want Shri Krishna? In his most loving form, in a slightly reserved form, in a more reserved form like Ram, in his purely godly form like Vishnu, or even some people prefer him formless. In any case, we have to decide and make that our goal. Once we've decided, then we stay ananya to that form of God, knowing that they're all one. They're all just different forms of Krishna. So you choose the one that you want to attain. And then you only worship that form. You're not being disrespectful to his other forms because you're still worshiping him. So this is Ananyata to the Ishtadev, our chosen form of God. Ananyata to the Guru was previously explained. Now understand Ananyata to the path. What is the path? The path is bhakti, devotion to God. all of those divine attainments that I described, I just realized there's even a diagram here on this light panel. Vaikunt, Saket, Dwarika, Golok, Vrindavan. No matter which one of those you wish to attain, the means of attaining it is exactly the same. Even if you want to merge into formless God, the means of attaining it is exactly the same. Surrender to receive Krishna's grace, and when you've surrendered completely, His grace will eliminate the material bondage and reveal whatever divine experience you had desired. That surrender is called bhakti. Now, bhakti has different stages, 3 main stages. Bhakti that we have to do, what is the practical path? That is called sadhana bhakti. Sadhana means something you practice to attain your goal. Sadhana bhakti is what we practice. When we practice sadhana bhakti, in the beginning, we have very little surrender, or we have as much surrender as we had developed in our previous lifetime. Wherever we finished, that's where we start in this life. So it could be different for everybody. But wherever we are, we start practicing sadhana bhakti, our heart gets purified, and our surrender, our degree of surrender or percentage of surrender increases. As it increases, we're getting closer to God realization, but something else also happens along the way. The second type of bhakti blossoms in the heart. Bhav bhakti. Bhav means feelings of love for God, feelings of love for Radha Krishna, and a thrill that is associated with that. There are different feelings and different experiences that happen in Bhav Bhakti, very pleasing, thrilling, and inspiring experiences that let a devotee know that they're on the right track, that they're making progress, and it stimulates them to want to experience more and go further ahead. These experiences are called altogether Bhav Bhakti. So eventually, by practicing sadhana bhakti, we start having these experiences of Bhav Bhakti. Those go on increasing as our heart goes on purifying, and eventually we get to the point of 100% heart purification. When that happens, we get the third form of bhakti, divine bhakti. It's called Siddha Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti means divine love. This is Shri Krishna's most personal divine power. That's given to us upon God realization. So it means sadhana bhakti we practice, bhav bhakti is experienced as we progress in our sadhana bhakti, and when our devotion is complete, we receive prema bhakti, the divine love. But the path is sadhana bhakti. Why do we have to practice sadhana bhakti? To purify our heart. Why? Because only when our heart is pure will we become fully surrendered. Why do we have to become fully surrendered? Because only a surrendered heart can receive Krishna's grace. Why do we need His grace? Because anything in the divine world requires His grace to be received. We cannot attain anything on our own. We're in a material body with a material mind. All of our efforts will be limited and material. So how could that result in achieving anything divine and unlimited? Therefore, Shri Krishna's grace is required. And that grace is received into a surrendered heart. And right now we're unable to surrender because our heart is impure due to unlimited lifetimes of karma and all kinds of actions and impurities. Therefore, we have to practice sadhana bhakti to purify that heart. How is sadhana bhakti practiced? It's very simple. What are we trying to purify? Attach that thing to the divine purifier. Krishna is the divine purifier. Our mind is the thing that we have to purify, so attach it to Krishna. Whatever we do to cause the mind to become attached to Krishna, that is sadhana bhakti. This means that of all the types of bhakti that people practice and that are described in the scriptures, like doing arti, chanting God's name, visiting holy places, doing puja. In puja, we offer various things to God. Reciting scriptures. Whatever the practice may be, it is incomplete unless the mind is in Krishna. That's the key. If the mind is not in Krishna, how will the mind be purified? There's one practice, a very well-known and beautiful practice in India of bathing in a holy river. And the most famous holy river is Gangaji. So people have it in their mind that if I bathe in Gangaji, I will be freed from all material bondage and I'll go to the divine abode. So one time somebody went to a saint and asked that I have bathed in Gangaji dozens of times, and yet I haven't changed at all. My heart is still full of anger and jealousy. I still perform many sins every day. So why haven't I changed? Has the importance of Gangaji been exaggerated, or am I doing something wrong? So the saint said, do one thing. Take a bottle, and you see that dirty gutter running over there with filthy water in it? Just fill that water in your bottle and seal the top up tight. And then submerge that bottle in Gangaji. Everybody knows that no matter what kind of water enters Gangaji, it becomes Gangaji. It's purified. And people drink that water. Once it has entered Gangaji and become Gangaji, now it has taken on the qualities of Gangaji because it mixed with Gangaji. So the saint asked that person, if you submerged your sealed up bottle with the dirty water inside and left it in Gangaji for a month, and then I told you to uncork it and drink it, what would you say? You'd say, no. There's no way I would drink it. Why not? It's been in Gangaji. Yes, but it hasn't mixed in Gangaji. Ah, there's the answer. You know where all your sins are stored? In here, in your mind. And every time you've bathed in Gangaji, you did it physically. You physically bathed in Gangaji and your mind was thinking, I hope nobody runs off with my chappals that I left a few steps up. Or you're thinking about the samosa you're going to go and eat after you finished bathing. Your mind is somewhere in the world, not faithfully attached to Gangaji. Therefore, you never got the results. So Gangaji's divine power is unlimited. But you have to join your mind with that divine power. This example can be applied to every form of devotion. Tulsidas Ji says, Jasu naam sumirat ikbara, utarahi nar bhav sindhu apara. God's name is so powerful, just say it once and you'll cross over the ocean of cosmic existence and you'll meet your divine beloved. Say it once. We've said it at least 1,000,000 times this weekend alone. None of us have crossed the ocean of cosmic existence. So is Tulsidas Ji exaggerating? No, he's not. We're missing that same piece that the man who was bathing in Ganga was missing. We haven't joined our mind with the Nami. Nam means Krishna's name. Nami means the one residing in the name. Krishna is in his name, but do we think of him while we're chanting his name? Not fully. So when Tulsidas Ji says, remember the name once, he means with full faith, knowing that Ram is in this name, Shyam is in this name, then once is enough. The point of all of this is, whatever form of physical devotion we adopt, our mind should always be in God. That's the key. This is sadhana. Joining the mind to God. Where's the mind most of the time? In the world. Worrying, thinking, planning, desiring, doing something in the world. So it's busy all the time. The mind takes on the qualities of the thing it mixes with. So if we want to mix our mind with God, we have to bring God into our mind slowly by thinking about him over and over again. And he starts to infuse into our mind. And we start to take on his qualities. And we start to experience Bhav Bhakti as our heart purifies due to becoming more and more joined with him. And the means of doing this is called Roop Dhyan. This is the key. If you add Roop Dhyan to any spiritual practice, whether you're offering something to God, cooking for him, doing his arti, chanting his name, if you add Roop Dhyan, then you're going to get the benefit of that purification. Roop Dhyan means thinking of the form of God. So if you are worshipping Krishna, you have to think of Krishna's form when you're doing his arti or chanting his name or any form of devotion. That is the key. And this is what almost nobody knows. People spend their whole life following such a disciplined devotion. I get up every day and I do this much puja and I recite these mantras. The discipline is admirable, but then they're mystified. Why am I not changing inside? I'm doing this devotion for years. Because they're doing it as a type of physical practice. They're not adding Roop Dhyan into it. Before we do anything, we should always think of the form of God. Okay, Krishna, I'm going to chant your name. First you come in front of me. Now I'm thinking of Krishna. He's already here. There's no obstacle in creating that connection with him. He's already here. He's even inside our mind. He's inside our soul. But we have to create that conscious connection with him. And then maintain that awareness of his presence while we're doing devotion. The mind will wander, but when it wanders, we just bring it back. That is our sadhana. So keeping Krishna, keeping the form of Krishna in our mind is our sadhana. That is the practice. The more we practice, the more our heart will purify, and one day we will reach our divine goal. Now this practice is so powerful that no other affiliated practice is required. In other words, just meditating on Krishna's form is enough to accomplish our goal. All the do's and don'ts that Vedas tell about what time you have to do devotion, how you have to sit, where to sit, this is called Karmakand or Vaidhi Bhakti. These practices have no control or no power over this pure practice of bhakti. The practices of Jnana and Yoga have no need to be included in this path of bhakti because you're already getting everything. Yat karma bhiryat tapasa jnana vairagya taschayat yogena dana dharmena shreyo bhiritarairapi. In the Bhagavatam, Shri Krishna says, by practicing this form of bhakti, you get the results of all other paths and practices automatically. So there's no need to supplement this path of devotion with any other practice. In fact, it would only detract. How can you walk on two paths at the same time? Choose the one path that is taking you where you want to go, and focus all of your energy and time and practice according to that path. So this is the third aspect of Ananyata. Having understood exactly what we have to do, now we just do that. If someone hasn't decided yet that this is the path for me, so they may still need to try different things. But once you've started practicing this path and you experience its efficiency and its power, then you just decide to leave all the other practices. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, Shri Krishna says in the Gita, leaving all the other practices, all the other dharmas, just come to me. That's it. So this is Ananyata. We should be Ananya to our Guru, Ananya to our Ishtadev, and Ananya to the path of Bhakti. The specific path of Bhakti we practice is called Raga Nuga Bhakti, because its only focus is on loving Krishna, having a personal relationship with Him, like Gop Kumar wanted. That's what we desire on the path of Raga Nuga Bhakti. We don't ask Him for anything except His vision and His love, and we desire to serve Him and take part in His Leelas. Now that you've understood about what this path is, we're going to spend a few minutes practicing. I just explained Rup Dhyan to you. We're going to sing a chant now that describes Radha Rani. Radha is also one with Krishna and is Krishna's female form. This chant is written by Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj, and it describes many details about what Radha looks like. This is helpful because when we want to form that image and do Rup Dhyan, the mind needs something specific to think about. This chant provides those specifics. As we chant, let's try to actually visualize the specifics being described and feel that we're seeing real Radha in front of us. So you can open your eyes, read the meaning. I think you'll have to zoom in a little bit. Read the meaning and then close your eyes and try to imagine according to what we're singing. This will give you some practice in doing Rup Dhyan, and this is the practice that we're meant to incorporate into our daily life. Meaning we're meant to sit and practice this every day for some time. रूप अगाधे राधे राधे मेरी राधे रूप अगाधे राधे राधे मेरी राधे रूप अगाधे राधे राधे मेरी राधे रूप अगाधे राधे 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 मेरी राधे राधे मेरी राधे राधे मेरी राधे राधे मेरी राधे रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
कनक मुकुट सोहे सिर राधे,
कनक मुकुट सोहे सिर राधे।
कनक मुकुट सोहे सिर राधे,
कनक मुकुट सोहे सिर राधे।
मुकुट मणिन दुति राधे, राधे मेरी 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 राधे।
राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे।
राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
चम चम चमक चंद्रिका राधे,
चम चम चमक चंद्रिका राधे।
चम चम चमक चंद्रिका राधे,
चम चम चमक चंद्रिका राधे।
नीलर मुक्तन राधे, राधे मेरी 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 राधे।
रूप गाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
बिंदी भाल लाल भल राधे,
बिंदी भाल लाल भल राधे।
बिंदी भाल लाल भल राधे।
भाल लाल भल राधे।
कर्ण फूल श्रुति राधे, राधे मेरी 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 राधे।
रूप गाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
कजरारे दृग काजर राधे,
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 कजरारे दृग काजर राधे।
मोरी चितवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
मोरी चितवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
मोरी चितवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
मोरी चितवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
नासानथ बेसर दुती राधे,
नासानथ बेसर दुती राधे,
नासानथ बेसर दुती राधे,
नासानथ बेसर दुती राधे।
मृदु मुस्कनी मुख राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
मृदु मुस्कानी मुख राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
मृदु मुस्कनी मुख राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
मृदु मुस्कानी मुख राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे।
कर कंकन मुंदरिन दुती राधे,
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 कर तल मेहंदी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
कर तल मेहंदी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
कर तल मेहंदी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
कर तल मेहंदी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे राधे मेरी राधे।
नील वसन कंचुकी छवि राधे,
नील वसन कंचुकी छवि राधे।
नील वसन कंचुकी छवि राधे,
नील वसन कंचुकी छवि राधे।
लर मोतिन उर राधे, राधे मेरी 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 राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
कन कन किंकिनी पायल राधे,
कन कन किंकिनी पायल राधे।
कन कन किंकिनी पायल राधे।
कन कन किंकिनी पायल राधे।
अंगुरिन बिछुवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
अंगूरिन बिछुवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
अंगुरिन बिछुवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
अंगूरिन बिछुवनी राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
चरण कमल दस नख मणि राधे,
शरण कमल दस नख मणि राधे।
चरण कमल दस नख मणि राधे।
चरण कमल दस नख मणि राधे।
पग जावक लग राधे, राधे मेरी 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 राधे।
छवि कृपालु मोहति मन राधे,
छवि कृपालु मोहति मन राधे।
छवि कृपालु मोहति मन राधे।
छवि कृपालु मोहति मन राधे।
मोहति मन राधे,
मोहति मन राधे।
मोहति मन राधे।
मोहति मन राधे।
छवि कृपालु मोहति मन राधे।
छवि कृपालु मोहति मन
राधे मेरी राधे,
मोहन हूँ को राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
मोहन हूँ को राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
मोहन हूँ को राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे,
राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे,
रूप अगाधे राधे, राधे मेरी राधे।
राधा रानी की
जय।
Before we do the arti, I just wanted to announce about a class that we're going to be starting next Saturday, which is through Zoom, so it's online. We have a part of Radha Madhav Dham that we call Shiksha. Shiksha was originally started to run classes here in the temple and in various buildings on the ashram for kids so they can study music and languages and these types of enrichment programs. But since COVID started, we've moved everything to online, and we've also expanded some of our classes to include adults. So through Shiksha, I'm going to be offering a Gita class for adults starting next Saturday. And it will be every Saturday for the next month from 5 till 6 Texas time. If you would like to sign up for this class, you can go to our website, shikshaschool.com, shikshaschool.com, and just click on the link for classes, and then scroll down until you see devotional essence of the Gita. This will be an interactive class where you get to ask questions, and I'll even have a worksheet for you to download and use on your own. It's going to be based on the devotional philosophy of the Gita. The Gita covers many different topics, but we're going to focus on the parts that actually teach us how to live a devotional life in the world. And of course, it's going to be based on the teachings of Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj. So what I've learned, what we've all learned from Jagadguru Shree Kripalu Ji Maharaj from the Gita as it relates to practicing devotion and living a devotional life, we're going to focus on those concepts. So we'll take 3 or 4 concepts from each chapter and learn about those specifically. We're not going to memorize shloks or study each and every shlok. We're going to focus on the 3 or 4 most important points of each chapter. So if you'd like to join, we'll be starting with chapter 1 next Saturday, this coming Saturday, June 6th at 5 p.m. So again, just go to our website, shikshaschool.com, click on classes, and you'll scroll down and you'll find the Gita class information. Now we'll stand for Arti. Radhe Radhe.
जयति जगत गुरु गुरुवर की, गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाँव गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की। गुरु पद नख मणि चंद्रिका प्रकाश, जाके उर बस ताके मोह तम नाश, जाके मात नाथ तब हाथ करवास, ताते हुए माया मोह सब ही निराश। पावे गति मति रति राधावर की, गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाँव गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की। अरे मन मूल छाओ नारी नर हाथ, गुरु बिनु भ्रम शाम हो न देंगे साथ। कोमल कृपालु बड़ी कृपा सिंधुनाथ, पाके इन्हें आज तू अनाथ हो सनाथ। इन्हें के अभी कृपा गिरिधर की, गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाँव गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की। भक्ति योग रस अवतार अभिराम, करे निगमागम समन्वय ललाम। श्यामा श्याम नाम रूप लीला गुण धाम, बाट रहे प्रेम निष्काम बिनु दाम। हो रहे सफल काय नरी नर की, गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाँव गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की। लली लाल लीला का सलूना सुविलास, छाया दिव्य दृष्टि बिच प्रेम का प्रकाश। वैसा ही विनोद वही मंजू मृदुहास, करे बस बर बस उच्च अटहास। झूमे चले चाल वही नटवर की, गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाँव गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की। जयति जगत गुरु गुरुवर की, गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की, गाँव गाँव मिले आरती रसिक वर की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। तुहुन सिर कनक मुकुट झलके, तुहुन श्रुति कुंडल भल हलके। तुहुन दृग प्रेम सुधा चलके, चसीले बैन रसीले नैन गसीले सैन। तुहुन मैनन मनहारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। तुहुन दृग चितवनी परवारी, तुहुनी लट लट कनी छवि न्यारी। तुहुनी भामट कनी अति प्यारी, रसन मुख पान हसन मुस्कान। रसन दमकान, तुहुनी बेसर छवि न्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी की। एक कानन खनक किंकिणिन झनक नूपुरन भनक धुन रुन झुन धुनि प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी एक सिर मोर मुकुट राज एक सिर चूनरी छवि छाज तुहर सिर तिरछे भल भ्राज संग ब्रज बाल लाडली लाल बाहंगल राज कृपालु दुहन दृग चारी की बनवारी नथवारी आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी आरती प्रीतम प्यारी की बनवारी नथवारी मत प्रियान राधिका प्रियान मधवो राधिका धव तस्मादपि गरियान्यो कृपालुर्मे जगद्गुरु गुरुं भजति श्रीकृष्णः श्रीकृष्णं भजते गुरौ सिद्धान्ततस्त्व भेदे अपि कृपालुर्मे गुरुर्महा अशरण शरण महाप्रभु तुम स्वामी हम दास की जय कृपा कृपालु मम दीजय गुरु सहवास तुम दीनन रखवार हम अहंकार अवतार अस करु कृपा कृपालु अब दीन बनु सरकार हो ऐसो हो पतित जो पतित न आपुहि मान ऐसे पतित विचित्र को पावन करु तब जान सबे भिखारी जगत के जेतिक नातेदार दिव्य प्रेम आनंद के तुम एक साहूकार अनंत भूमल्लाचार्य की जगतगुरु श्री कृपालु जी महाराज की श्री रासेश्वरी राधा रानी की श्री राधा माधव धाम की जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे